In episode 6 of the Skirmish Wargames Hobby Vlog, we look at Warhammer Chaos Warriors from across the decades, starting with a classic 1997 Regiment box. Well, hi folks, this is Lee from skirmishwargames.com. I'm here with Lynn.
Hello everyone.
And welcome to episode 6 of the Skirmish Wargames Hobby Vlog. So today our plan is to unseal this pristine box of Warhammer Chaos Warriors from 1997. And I actually purchased 3 of these boxes back in the day. I guess I figured I was going to make a bunch of regiments, but the store I bought them from is sadly no longer, and even the shopping mall that the store was in is no longer. So these go back a ways. We have pilfered some parts from one of the boxes. This box I just removed the shrink wrap from the other day so we could reduce the glare, and I still have one more box in the shrink. But our plan today is to open up this set and show you what's inside. It's a mix of plastic and metal parts, and as Lynn pointed out, they even give you parts to build a horn blower and a leader and a standard bearer in there. So by the time you're done, you get a pretty nice set of vintage looking, hulking Chaos Warriors in plastic with a few metal parts. So we're going to be unsealing this today and looking at the treasures within. But before we do, we have to give a shout out to our friend Edgar from Connecticut. Some of you might remember that about a month ago we unpacked a vintage lot of old Warhammer 40k minis, which included this 1989 metal Terminator and this 1998 metal Space Marine Captain. And both these guys are missing some parts. So I have the Storm Bolter for the Terminator, but the Space Marine Captain was missing a hand with a bolter on it, and the Terminator was missing a power fist. So Lynn, you might remember that at the time we were joking about taking one of those plastic Space Hulk Terminators and sawing off an arm and then attaching it to this metal Terminator. And one of our viewers, Edgar from Connecticut, said, no, don't do that. Don't mangle that poor plastic Space Marine. I have some parts in the bits box. So he actually sent us, and this was very kind of him, a power fist for the Terminator and a hand and a bolter for the Space Marine Captain. So we had offered to trade Edgar some old plastic Space Hulk Terminators or other things, but he said no, he just wanted to send us the stuff. So Edgar, thank you so much. That is, it just really restores my faith in humanity, and we really appreciate it. So now these guys can be restored to their former glory because of the generosity of a Warhammer 40k fan.
Does that mean I get to paint the Terminator?
Yeah, I guess if you're going to lay claim to the Terminator, you can have him, but you can't have the Space Marine Captain. That one's mine. So
fair enough.
All right, now back to today's topic. So the reason I purchased 3 boxes of these Chaos Warriors here, these 3 regiments, was I already had a bunch of these old Chaos Warriors from the mid-1980s that I had bought at some point, and they're really neat. Each one of them is unique, but there's not that many of them, so we needed to flesh out the unit a little bit. And my intent had been to make use of my Warhammer Fantasy Battle book from 1987, and then the Realm of Chaos book from 1988. And I want to say I purchased these books somewhere around 1990, 1991, with every intent of learning the game and painting the minis. But obviously I never got around to painting my uber cool metal Chaos Warriors from the late 80s, though I did finally pull them out of the box and put them on round bases just the other day. And so we have some nefarious plans to turn these into some sort of a Chaos Mordheim warband. And I'm hopeful that that gets done, because these guys are really too cool to be sitting in a box. So anyway, I had high hopes of playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle 3rd Edition back in the early 90s. Didn't quite get to it. And then what happened was life intervened. This was put on hold. But then about a decade later, I must have revisited the idea of playing Warhammer Fantasy, because I got 3 boxes of these Chaos Warriors from around 1997. And by that time, I think the game was in 5th edition, so I didn't even have the right book. But I still picked up 3 boxes, and we're going to open up one of them today. We're going to open up the factory tape and see what's inside. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Chaos Warriors and the evolution from the 1980s through 1990s to kind of where we're at today, and sort of look at the designs and things like that. So that is our plan. Lynn, would you like to do the honors? There is a box knife over there, and I hope there's no curse on this box that happens when you unseal the tomb.
The curse of too many parts.
The curse of too many parts. The curse of unpainted minis.
Nice artwork on the inside.
Very nice artwork. All right, here we go. Unsealing the tomb. Okay. So it says a complete regiment for Warhammer. So what is that? 12 finely detailed figures. So that's what we got here. So here's one of 2 sprues of Chaos Shields that you get in the box. And as you can see, you get 6 different shield designs. And I remember when I got these Chaos Warriors sets about 20 years ago, I actually opened one and I built a couple of Chaos Warriors just to see how it would go. And the fact that the designs on the shields are so prominent, it made it pretty easy to paint them. So that was a bonus in my mind.
I like the designs on the shields. Those are cool.
They are cool. There's some metal parts to create, I think, your musician and your standard bearer and your leader. So there's some Chaos Warrior components. These models are kind of a pleasure to put together because they're big and clunky. There's a lot of surface area for the glue and not a lot of little fiddly bits. I like the big details like this because that's really made for dry brushing, which is one of my go-to techniques for knocking things out quickly. So you basically just get your arms, your legs, your torso, your heads, your shields, and that's it. And you don't have to worry about gluing on every knife or pouch or what have you. So I stand corrected. There are a couple of cloaks in here as well as a few little knives and things. But for the most part, you're just dealing with the main body parts and then the shields, and you're good to go. Square bases, which we're not using, and then movement trays, which we're not using, though I keep hearing rumors about GW coming out with some sort of a square-based rank-and-file game sometime in the future. Here's the flyer that was in there as well, documenting a lot of retro goodness. There's one of the early 40K starter sets. And I wish I had this starter set for a Warhammer Fantasy Battle. That looks pretty interesting with the castle and all that. And perhaps had I had perfect foresight, I could have picked up some more regiments when I bought these Chaos Warriors. Like, it sure would be nice to have some regiments of Bretonnians. But we do not. We have our Chaos Warriors, but it is fun to kind of look at those old pictures. So this was the little flyer that was all folded up in there. So as I mentioned earlier, we've already pilfered some parts from the first Chaos Warrior box that we opened. This is the second one, and my plans for this is to take some of these Orc Boys. These are contemporary Orc Boys. And what we found is that the scale on these Orc Boys is pretty compatible with the scale on these Chaos Warriors. And so if you combine Orc parts, like we were just using leftovers the first time we tried this, with Chaos Warriors, you get some pretty good looking Space Pirates or custom Chaos Space Marines. So let me show you what that looks like. So these are our Gwar Rumblers that Lynn and I made for the Gwar Rumble in Antarctica gameplay video maybe a year ago, last September, I think. So this is Jolly Hatchet, Flagellus Maximus. Is that Apollo Flesh Grinder? I can't remember. Or is that guy?
I think that's him there.
And then Samson Slice and Dice here on the end. So these are just leftover Orc parts sort of glued to these old Chaos Warrior bodies. This is a horned skull from the Citadel Skulls package, but these were just leftover parts, so I really wanted to use everything in the box and see what would happen if we took the choicest bits from the Orc set and the Chaos Warrior set and what we got out of it, maybe make a bunch of Space Pirates. Maybe I won't use the whole box, but we'll at least pilfer a few so we can round out our band of Space Pirates here, and I look forward to that. And as I mentioned earlier, I actually did build a couple of these Chaos Warriors back about 20 years ago when I first got the box and opened it up. So these were made probably in the 90s, and I was experimenting with dry brushing to see how quickly I could knock them out, because a whole regiment is a lot of minis if you're not used to painting that many. And it works out pretty good. This guy's actually dry brushed with this old Citadel chainmail, and this green guy was done with a similar pot of green metallic, which I have around here somewhere, which is still good. I'm still using them, so that old paint really holds up well, though I don't think you can get it anymore because I think the formula is different. But so when these are gone, they're gone. So here's a comparison between the 1997 plastic Chaos Warriors and these mid to late 1980s metal Chaos Warriors. And as you can see, these guys are a little more individualistic. Not as much opportunity for customization, but each one is kind of unique. And of course, you got these by the blister pack as opposed to getting the full set of plastics. So that is 10 years of difference right there. And these guys here are a couple of more contemporary plastic Chaos Warriors. I'm not sure if they're the most recent available. Probably not, but they're obviously more contemporary than these guys. And as you can see, the design has changed quite a bit. So these guys look a little more realistic in terms of their scale, a little less heroic scale, and look a lot different than these old metal sculpts that really kind of had a focus on individuality. I think it's a shame because these plastic sculpts, I understand the benefit of making things on a sprue with parts so people can customize them and make their regiments the way they want. But there is something really fun about these old metal sculpts where there was a lot of individuality between each of the various guys, and each figure was kind of unique. And I guess that probably makes it hard for the company to produce all of these unique figures, or if they can only produce so many, then you have repeats within your regiment. But just for creating a warband or whatever, having all these kind of individual guys with their own characteristics and their own quirks is a lot of fun. So maybe this wouldn't work so well for a regiment-style game, but for a warband-style game, I think I'm looking forward to painting these guys up and getting them on the table. So hopefully we can do that soon. So in the first regiment box that I opened, I think there's still some unbuilt Chaos Warriors in there, and so I'm sort of feeling obligated to build them the traditional way, and then maybe the second box will turn into pirates. So we shall see. And then the final box, I don't know. Maybe I'll leave that in the shrink wrap, and then 10 or 20 years from now, we'll do another video and open it up again and see what our plans are for that one. So we'll see where our creativity leads us on that, but I'd also like to solicit a little input from the audience out there. So let us know if you have an opinion, what version of Chaos Warriors you like. Are you a fan of the vintage metal, or the mid-1990s plastic, or something later, or even if you like the most contemporary versions available? I'm not even sure if I know what those are. And give us your thoughts on Chaos Warriors from across the ages, and just put a comment in the comment section, and we'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay, with that, I guess that's a wrap on episode 6. We are working very hard on our Pile of Shame project, but I'm not actually finishing many figures at this point because I'm doing a lot of basing and prepping, which means the pile is actually getting bigger rather than smaller. But at some point I need to shift to painting mode and start getting stuff done before October rolls in. So I guess I better get back at it because I think Lynn is out painting me by about 5-1. But in the meantime, thanks very much for stopping by and checking out today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. And until we talk again, stay safe out there, have some fun, and we will talk to you soon.
Back to my dwarves.
Yeah, back to the painting table. Take care.